Good evening, everyone. It's Tala here, and I'm glad to have another opportunity to do another episode, to live long enough to do it. I don't take those moments for granted, that I get to share that time with you guys, and vice versa. You get to share it with me, and that's pretty cool. So thank you for stopping by. I'm appreciative of your time. Recently, I received a text message from a friend of mine, somebody I trust, and I very much respect their opinion. She recently texted me as a joke. She said, "Why can't your partner get your sense of humor?" And she's talking about her own partner getting her sense of humor. I don't really mind this question. I think it's a great question. She said it as a joke. I really thought about this because it is a common misconception that almost everybody in a relationship goes through, that we need to change our partner somehow. That if we talk to them enough and tell them what we want, that they will change and everything will be better. But it really does not account for reality. We're living a delusion, basically. If I need to change my partner, for example, into having a better sense of humor or to look a certain way, if I have to work that hard with another person to make them more attractive, desirable to me, or even for me to accept them in my life as they are, that's a delusion. I need you to kind of look at yourself and think about it for a minute. Think about, can I love my partner where they're at? Can I meet them where they're at and love what they've got already? Most of the time, we miss that part. It is so logical. It's in your face every day. Your partner doesn't like to clean up the way you like to clean up. And so forcing them by nagging to clean up the kitchen and then tell them it's not good enough is not going to get them to do it again. Eventually, if I'm that guy or that girl that keeps disappointing you, I'm going to stop cleaning up. I won't take out the trash. I won't clean your car, nothing, because I know you're going to complain about it every second, because you are telling me as a partner that I'm not good enough. Now, it's not coming out like that. We really have good intentions, but the implication of me having to adjust you so I can get comfortable is really implying that it's not good enough. What you're doing is not good enough, and you're not good enough. And subconsciously, and hell, even consciously, if I'm the recipient of that nagging, I'm going to eventually get really a bad taste in my mouth about this relationship. And I won't know why, but I'm not allowed to be where I'm at and for me to be seen. And I don't remember where I saw this before, but I remember reading that love is about being seen by someone else. And when I think of that quote or statement, I think that's what we're doing here. It's being seen by someone and seeing someone really as they are without the need for them to perform. You know, if they give love, let them give it openly without judging it and calling it not good enough and you need to do it this way. If the person even decides to change or try to please you, it'll be a temporary patch up, because the problem isn't really them. The problem is going to be how we perceive them. We're the ones looking at them every day and judging their behavior, what they're doing. And, you know, if I have a partner that wants to make me happy, they'll keep changing themselves, giving me the impression that they actually are in charge of my happiness and my satisfaction. So we don't want to do that to our partners. We just want to enjoy them as they are. A lot of times when we are constantly looking at our partner and we're judging everything they do or they don't do, the problem is much bigger than our than the husband or the wife that we're looking at and judging all day long because whatever they're doing is not enough. We got to really look at, what is it about me that keeps seeing that they're not enough? And is this something worth looking at for me? Is it something worth exploring why I'm irritable with this person where maybe I wasn't before? Why does this stuff that this person is doing or not doing bothering me now, even though I know they don't usually do it? And you'll come up with, at minimum, that I'm just not accepting them as they are, and that I had it in mind to change this person because I'm there to save them, or whatever reason it is that we do this. But all of it is just a deeper underlying problem with our relationship. If we're constantly irritable in a relationship, it is worth looking at to check out and see if I am satisfied in this relationship. Am I doing all the stuff or making a person change just so I can feel better and blaming them for how I feel about this relationship? Because we can get into this lie real quick. We can make ourselves believe that that somehow they're just annoying me all day long. And it's really an in-depth thing because I just don't want to leave them, or I'm afraid to leave them. So now I'm starting to punish them all day long by nagging at them. It's not gonna be fruitful for either one of you guys. It's gonna create this intense type of relationship where people are performing and keeping score of one another, which never results in a good outcome here. So being compassionate to somebody that you have lived with for some time, all of a sudden you find them to be annoying. It's something for us to admit. There's something for us to admit to ourselves out loud, even by saying it to myself in the car. What is it that I want from this relationship? And can this person really offer me that? Do they have the skills I'm asking them to have? Are they even interested in having those skills, So for example, in the case of my friend that wants her partner to get her sense of humor, she has to understand that her partner never had this sense of humor to begin with. It's not that all of a sudden she stopped having it. It's not something that she even needs to learn how to do. Can my friend accept her partner just the way she is? Or does she want something else? Is she wanting to leave this person, but using excuses that I can pinpoint about this person in order to not leave or not make decisions about this relationship? We don't want to change people. We don't want to raise or train our partner, okay? They are mirroring us somehow, and they're showing us something about ourselves. I always tell you that. So they don't have to actually act exactly like I do, but they are showing us about our own behavior in this relationship, whether I'm tolerant or intolerant or dissatisfied, disgruntled, wishing for more. All of these are things that are appropriate to admit. If you want more in a relationship, it's wonderful to want more. But if the person in front of you is not capable of giving you what you want, then you need to also look at that and say, am I willing to accept this person and stop punishing them and nagging them and judging them all day long? Or can I seek to end this relationship and really go after what I want? But the last thing that I want to do, I want to make sure that everybody doesn't do, is to try to make this person be something that you want them to be. They have free will as you do, and if they're choosing to be with you as you are, it almost humbles me as a person if I know that my partner is with me, even though I'm nagging them. I might be even judging them all day long. The way I'm talking to them is passive aggressive, and I just, get irritable when I come home and my partner hasn't cleaned the house and is just slamming doors and making a scene that's passive aggressive, taking it out on my kids because I can't take it out on my partner or whatever. If I'm doing all that, it's dissatisfaction that grows like a fungus, basically. We are both, as a couple, tiptoeing around the real issue, and the real issue is, does this relationship meet the needs currently of each person in this relationship? Sitting with yourself and practicing self-honesty, asking yourself, are they capable of giving me what I want? And why can't I get what I want elsewhere? Right? Why does it have to be I gotta make this person be what I want them to be? This is a tough job you're asking yourself to do, and it's a lot of pressure on you and really overwhelming for the other person. And it's eventually going to end, like I always say, it's going to end pretty bad if there's such a thing. It's going to end nasty, and we don't want to get to nasty. We want to start doing the self-honesty work and practicing asking ourselves the question, what is it that I want in this relationship? Is this person capable of giving me that? And if not, what would I like to do about it? And I can't control another person. So the answer can't be I try to control another person by nagging them to death. It has to be, what is it that I want to do about it? What decision do I want to make about this part of my relationship, or on my part of the relationship? I hope so far it's making sense to you guys and you're flowing with me. I'm feeling it. Okay. The next part I want to talk about is about the constant fantasy that most of us carry within us that we don't really say out loud, but we kind of do actions that imply exactly what this next thought I'm going to talk to you about, which is the fantasy that I'm the person that my partner is going to change for. Oh my God. If you are running this game in your head, just make it stop. Just make it stop. It's a fantasy. It's a delusion that my partner is going to change for me. If I have to pick them based on that, I am delusional. I've lost touch with reality, thinking that this needs to be a test somehow, that the universe or God, whatever I believe in, needs to show me that I'm worthy by this person changing how they are. And if they don't change how they are, I'm going to be upset because it means I'm not worthy of their change, right? Of them changing. So this places a lot of pressure on you and a lot of pressure on them, and nobody's happy in that relationship. So get rid of this fantasy that this person has to change for me, because I bet you money that you're going to keep score on whether they're changing, and you're going to secretly, subconsciously blame yourself for it, that you're not good enough for them to change, that you're not adequate enough for them to change, and they don't love you enough for them to change. None of this is true, but it will place this heaviness on this relationship that you don't want to place on it. So just knock it off. Knock it off. Be kind to you and be kind to the other person, because this action, this fantasy is going to keep you stuck in the hope that one day this person's going to change for me. And it's nonsense. It's nonsense. If they haven't changed thus far, I promise you, it is not because you're not good enough for them to change, or they don't love you enough and for them to clean better at home. That is not the case. They might love you, but they just don't clean the way you want them to clean. So check those expectations. Check the fantasy that you have. Do you run this fantasy that the person will change because of, oh, holy me? Oh boy, because that in itself is going to cause a lot of conflict. And dissatisfaction for both you and the other person. It's going to be like a punishment for them too. I'm going to treat them poorly because I feel like shit on the inside because they're not changing. I'm coming home and I'm finding dishes everywhere and laundry, and you leave your shoes here and you leave your pants here, and whatever the case is. It's just filthy. It's filthy, and it's a false idea of love because it is conditional. There are conditions to this kind of love. Conditionally. You have to perform for it, and I will keep score of how many times you do it and how many times you don't do it. And I'll point out to you how many times you don't do it. But whatever the case is, it's not going to end well for us. So let's start this 2020 by looking at our relationships with honesty. Really stepping back, and I mean way back, to where I'm just looking at me and they're out of my sight for just a minute. So this way I can really have a nice look at what my expectations are. What fantasy do I keep going that gives me this false hope that continues to place pressure on me, educating this other person to make them change. I'm their educator and they're my student. I'm being their teacher, I'm being their mother, their authority, and I'm telling them what they need to change so I can get happy. I mean, come on now. Let's get that straightened out. Let's start loving people as they are and love them, whether in the relationship and continuing this relationship, or love them all the way out of that relationship. But you're gonna love them. I don't want to go against love. You can love them and still let them go if it's not working out, rather than keep them and keep punishing them, trying to adjust them for them to finally get you. It's wild. Right now, you're being asked to love the person that you're with unconditionally. See them with the eye of acceptance. Enjoy them. Relieve yourself of the burden of having to change them. You are not responsible for that. We either accept them as they are, or accept them as they are and make a decision to seek what you want that they do not have. But they definitely cannot be what you want if you have to constantly keep changing them, nagging them into it. That means we're really not wanting to face whatever truth we need to face about how we feel about this person in this relationship. So let's get right with ourselves. I think you'll like it. I promise you will. It'll hurt at first to say those things out loud. Like, for example, I don't find my partner to be funny. I don't think that their priority is cleaning the house and finding that to be important like I do. Or I don't think that this person is going to be an equal partner. They're not going to be able to give love as well as receive it. Whatever it is that you need to call out to yourself, not to them, to yourself. It needs to happen. It needs to happen because it will set you free from trying to make them be whatever they're not, and free for you to be able to see it and do whatever you need to do to get yourself to a place of satisfaction and contentment. I'm all for it. Let's get swallowing on those hard pills, all of us, and start loving or letting go. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I'm sending you love, light, and the freedom from disappointment, from unmet expectations. This has been an episode of Drive-thru.